said that Gutfeld talks about you all the time.
Who is he? Really, who is he?
I don't watch the show.
He has a show.
I don't watch the
never
show.
heard of him.
Yeah.
I guess he's just obsessed with me.
No. Next, Joy's going to say she's never heard of carbs.
Imagine this. Joy Behar sitting at the table on The View, trying to keep her cool. But then Greg Gutfeld delivers a comment so sharp, even her usual calm seemed to slip. You could see the shift. Her expression changed, and the moment got tense. Her makeup stayed in place, but it looked like her confidence took a real hit. So, what really happened? Did Joy lose her temper, or was it just her pride quietly stepping away?
Seriously, her denial of knowing me is as believable as her red hair. But obsession? I mean, come on, Joy. Where would you even get that idea? Like Joy Behar's face, it's looking worse and worse by the day. More full of crap than Joy Behar after a night of scotch and Taco Bell. Her being named Joy is like me being named ugly. Joy wasn't there on the show. Apparently Mondays are her days off when she feeds in the pasture. It now smells like a humid day inside Joy Behar's moo-moo. The motives stink worse than Joy Behar's jog bra. I mean, assuming she jogs. Oh, wait, there she is. She has a point. Maybe I am obsessed, but some people are obsessed with Bigfoot, and they don't get to see him on TV every afternoon.
Whatever it was, this live TV moment was packed. With awkward tension and unexpected humor, one of those clips you half-watch through your fingers while still chuckling. Joy Behar is no rookie. She's held her spot at that table for years, known for her sharp wit, bold opinions, and classic eye rolls that say more than words ever could. She's built a reputation on being quick with the comebacks and never holding back. But even the best have their off days. And today, Joy didn't just have a rough moment. She got completely overshadowed by Greg Gutfeld, who came in swinging with the kind of sharp remarks that felt more like stand-up comedy than political commentary. Gutfeld delivered punchlines with ease. And Joy? She ended up on the receiving end of a pretty intense exchange. Greg Gutfeld isn't your typical host. He thrives on stirring the pot. He's known for turning serious topics into sharp, witty debates. And when he's in the zone, not even a seasoned pro like Joy Behar's out of reach, even with the whole panel on her side.
Last week, Joy Behar accused Elon Musk of being pro-apartheid, but then begged him afterwards not to sue. Musk lawyers have yet to comment because they're still checking to see if it's legal to sue a cow.
Shots fired.
Just a legal question. I don't know why it's so upsetting. I don't make the rules in this country. All right.
School Greg Gutfeld doesn't just respond. He delivers sharp, calculated jabs that feel more like carefully crafted performances than quick comebacks. His timing is spot on, and his delivery hits hard, like slamming a door in the middle of a quiet room. Watching him go to work is like seeing a cartoon character walk into a serious newsroom with no filter and no hesitation. This moment, it redefined uncomfortable silence, except people were laughing while trying to figure out what just happened. When Greg sets his sights on someone, it's not just a slip-up for them. It's a full-on public takedown. He doesn't just throw shade. He dismantles with accuracy and intensity, like someone who knows exactly where to strike.
It's about the view. It's become like a medical hospital that displays human misfailure. Like it's like here, let's look at this political oddity. Ah! You know, it's like it really is like the left-wing equivalent of a carnival sideshow, except instead of bearded ladies and fat clowns and two-headed cows. Well, let me rephrase that. But The View is a victim of the sunk cost fallacy. You know, how can you now speak the truth and when for years you've been telling lie after lie after lie? Now you're carrying this big bag of rocks around you because it's too harmful for their ego to admit that we really were dishonest. And they could be honest. All they would have to say is, look, we hate Trump so much. We were willing to lie about Joe Biden because we felt he was preferable. We thought our lying and our cover-up was on your behalf. Just say that. You're still scum, but at least you're honest scum.
School now picture this. Joy Behar, relaxed in her familiar spot on daytime TV, confident as ever. She's weathered media storms before and always seemed to come out on top. But today was different. Out of nowhere, she faced a verbal exchange so sharp it felt more like a scene from a reality show. Or worse, one of those cringeworthy open mic nights where nothing lands right. But this wasn't just casual back and forth or clever banter, it was something much more direct. Greg Gutfeld came fully prepared, ready to challenge every part of Joy's polished on-screen persona. He didn't charge in loudly. He started, subtle, with a smirk and a few light jabs, playfully questioning some of her recent political takes. At first, it seemed like harmless teasing. Then the tone changed. Suddenly, Greg flipped the switch and started breaking down her entire argument with calm, sharp precision. No yelling, no insults, just icy sarcasm and carefully delivered points that slowly unraveled Joy's usual confidence. It was like watching her public stance fall apart in real time, each shaky response prompting another push from Greg. Quiet, measured, and relentless.
Some news, the feral monsters of The View say they've never heard of you-know-who. True, the show that makes mornings hell claim that my name doesn't ring a bell. It's time for...
Our view on The View. Ugh.
Yeah, the witch's coven finally shows me some lovin'. Yesterday on The View, yours truly was the subject of conversation. Apparently, the broads have no idea who I am, or so they say. Hit it, Gladys.
The audience was stunned. Joy looked thrown off, trying to recover. Meanwhile, Greg Gutfeld stayed calm, cool, composed, and razor sharp. Let's be clear. This wasn't a debate. It wasn't a fair back and forth. This was a one-sided takedown, and Greg was in complete control. Joy, mid-sentence, seemed to lose her footing, like a performer forgetting her lines under a bright spotlight. The atmosphere shifted. Greg didn't shout. He didn't cause chaos. He simply delivered one sharp line after another with cold, calculated focus. The crowd had no idea what was coming until it landed. Quiet, focused, and devastating. Joy had recently thrown out some of her usual sharp remarks and bold takes, the kind that have defined her TV presence for years. But Greg wasn't buying it. He saw his moment and locked in. It wasn't playful. It was deliberate. Like a skilled critic circling weak points, he picked apart her arguments one by one, calmly exposing every flaw. And when he delivered his response, it didn't feel random. It felt sharp, almost practiced. Not a loud insult, but a quiet, precise challenge that left no room for recovery. That's what made it hit harder than anything loud ever could.
Candidate Tim Scott dropped by the Furry Five earlier today, and I thought the U.S. had a distinct policy against torture. He took the opportunity to call them out over crap Joy Behar recently said about him, specifically that he doesn't get systemic racism, which is like saying Brian Stelter doesn't get Ben and Jerry's. But Joy Behar gets racism after all. She's been black on Halloween. Yeah. But Joy wasn't there on the show. Apparently Mondays are her days off when she feeds in the pasture. But that is convenient, right? It's like one of my aunts dies every time Brian Kilmeade wants to hang out.
Greg wasn't just funny, he was smart. Each line had weight, each punchline packed facts. He didn't need to yell. He sliced her arguments apart with jokes that doubled as truth. Bomb's viewers weren't just laughing, they were wincing at first. People thought it was all in good fun, just that regular sparring we see on daytime TV, but suddenly the energy shifted. The laughs turned nervous, the tension thick, and then it happened. Joy, who's usually the queen of comebacks, just froze her go-to one. Liners didn't lend her confidence, wobbled the audience, could see the shift the woman known. Four steamrolling guests with a wink and a wise crack looked, shook in the camera. Caught every second for a woman whose entire persona is built on sass and control. Seeing her fumble live on air was like watching Bigfoot do karaoke and real unforgettable. And absolutely wild. But this wasn't just a case of bruised pride or a jab that landed too hard. Nah, this cut way deeper Joy's reaction. It wasn't about ego, it was the kind of moment that shows what happens when the spotlight burns too hot for too long. In the ruthless game of media, people like Joy Behar aren't just personalities. They're walking targets. Every sentence is clipped, every pause a headline. And this time that armor she's worn for decades, it cracked, and the audience felt it not because it was dramatic, but because it was real. This wasn't just some TV meltdown, it was a blink, and you miss it unraveling a rare peek behind the smirks and sass that pause in her delivery, that shift in her eyes. It wasn't staged. It was the moment, the weight of public life hit full force on the air, raw, unscripted, and impossible. To ignore Joy didn't just stumble. She surrendered quietly, subtly, but in the middle of a high-stakes media chess match, where Greg Gutfeld played like a grandmaster, every smirk he gave. Every punchline he launched calculated, and Joy for once had no countermove. It wasn't weakness, it was vulnerability, and that's what made it hit so hard. This was the cost of being on 24/7, the emotional tax of always being the loudest voice in the room. And when someone like Greg shows up swinging jokes sharper than truth even, the most seasoned pros can get caught slipping Joy's ironclad image. It shook her trademark, confidence flickered. The smirk gone. There were no witty roasts, no dramatic eye rolls. Just silence, heavy-loaded silence. And in that silence you could see it. The panic. The search for a comeback that never showed up. No PR training can fix a moment like that in a world where everything gets clipped, mead and replayed in slow motion. This was a raw crack in the image, and he reminded everyone watching. Even the biggest personalities are humane, especially when the cameras don't blink. When you're in the game, as long as Joy Behar, you learn to build walls. Sarcasm walls, deflection walls. Walls made of pure, undiluted sass, and for years those walls held strong. She turned public outrage into showbiz fuel and controversy into ratings gold. But every fortress has a crack, and Greg Gutfeld, he found it. This wasn't just an awkward moment caught. On live TV, it was a full-blown cultural flash, a moment so raw, so exposed it stopped being about just Joy or Greg. It became about use, about what happens when the non-stop pressure to entertain, to perform tollways beyond finally hits a breaking point. Greg didn't just win an argument, he triggered an online earthquake. School.
Sausage maker Johnsonville is recalling more than 42,000 pounds of pork sausage for possible contamination with plastic fibers. Fortunately, authorities were able to track all 42,000 pounds to a single location in New York City.
The second that clip went viral, social media turned into a digital battlefield. One half of the internet crowned Greg the undisputed champ of sarcasm, calling it a verbal KO of the decade. The other half shocked by Joy's rare moment of silence, some even rushing to defend her with "she's only human."